say that it offers little new beyond the techniques of organic gardening and crop layering which have been known for centuries. But the genius of co-founders Bill Mollison and David Holmgren is that they've combined the ancient art of food production with the modern science of ecology. And there's more, as Maddie explains.
Permaculture is a way of making sustainable human environments which not only nurture, feed and shelter the human beings who share them, but also don't despoil or take from nature and the planet. So it's a system of caring for people, but at the same time caring for the earth. It's a system that can be as big as a large-scale farm or a village or town design, or as small as a small urban backyard, allotment, or even a window box. And permaculture is very much all about ordinary people being able to do things for themselves to tread more lightly on the planet. It's not a system necessarily for experts, it's for ordinary people, so that everybody can contribute to preserving the environment by what they do in their own lives.
This garden is just the start. Future plans include building on local permaculture networks and helping to create a 55-acre centre for sustainability on the site of a former naval base. Community involvement is central to the thinking in Yorkshire, where permaculture design adapts to very different surroundings. Everywhere in Britain, people on housing estates like this are paying the price of unemployment, coupled with the excesses of 60s urban planning. But one glimmer of hope is Springfield Gardens in Bradford, where residents can contribute to a new mapping of their future. Project manager Chris Mackenzie-Davey explains the background to this site.
The Homewood estate here on the edge of Bradford has some 10,000 residents, and it was built in the early 60s, and very soon, like a lot of these big housing estates, it developed some very serious problems around high unemployment and poverty. But one thing this estate has developed is very strong community leadership, and that led to the estate winning a City Challenge bid. One of the ideas the village executive had was for a horticultural centre. And when the City Challenge bid was won, this idea was taken up, and permaculture was brought in to facilitate the development of the centre. The funding we've had is something like £220,000 over 3.5 years, and so far we're 2.5 years into the project. More than anything, this project is about the people of the estate, and among our aims are to encourage the local people to grow food, to challenge issues such as health. People suffer from very poor diet around here, and also economic things. Growing your own food can save quite a bit of money. We're also trying to improve the environment of the estate through getting people to grow food in their own gardens, and therefore we hope will take a greater care for the environment as a whole.
The site at Springfield was planned by permaculture designer Andy Langford. Central to his idea was inspiring local people to grow their own food.
Most of the houses on Homewood have a small garden, and what we're in here is our demonstration garden, which is about the same size as the typical garden on the estate. And what we're trying to do here is illustrate a variety of techniques, showing people how to produce their own food, and showing them that it's both easy and cheap.
Intensive techniques of cultivation can be enormously productive, and even the smallest plot can make a healthy contribution in the growing season. What's more, these vegetables are fresh, not like the jet-lagged produce we've grown accustomed to from the supermarkets. Further up the hill, they're growing crops on a larger scale using some innovative techniques.
What I'm sitting amongst here is the cash crop area of the site. And this is a system that's been developed by a volunteer down here called Mark Fisher. What we got on my right here is 2 metre wide beds, which are mulch beds, and they're where the crops go. They have paths running up between them so that you never actually tread on the bed themselves. And then beside me here is what's a bit different about this system, and this is what we call a pest predator strip. And so the plants we're growing in here are ones that attract in insects that will eat pests that are attacking the vegetables in the beds. So we have 2 of the vegetable beds, 1 pest predator bed, and another 2 of the vegetable beds, and so on down the field. And it's something certainly fairly experimental at the moment, but it seems to be working very well.
The importance of growing food close to where it's needed can't be overstated. In the last 10 years, there's been a huge increase in transport generated by the supermarkets. Initiatives like this help to create regional food markets where produce doesn't need to travel thousands of miles to reach your plate. One of the principles of permaculture is to make problems into solutions. So old tyres, which are the bane of any waste disposal authority, can be put to good use and even symbolise a new beginning. Eventually, these shapes by the front entrance will be an embankment of wild and cultivated flowers. Essentially, this place is all about people and how they can be inspired by permaculture. A volunteer, Terry Brown, had no experience of gardening before coming to Springfield. He decided to brighten the place up with annual flowers. He also came up with some novel ideas for using the drain pipes which had been left all over the site.
You reach right to the back? Yeah, go on then. Okay, that's it. Brilliant.
As more and more people become involved, so the strong community feeling of Holmwood Estate is reinforced and will further encourage productive gardening. And it's not all about work and productivity. As the site matures, areas of green tranquility begin to take shape. There's a woodland walk planned to enhance the borders of the site, and there's an abundance of wild flowers to add colour and beauty. As the name Springfield would suggest, there's plenty of water on this site, and the design incorporates some unusual methods of irrigation.
This is one of the 2 springs we have on Springfield, hence our name, and we're planning to use this water to stock for fish ponds, to fill up fish ponds, which we're going to be producing for, you're producing fish for food. The problem we have is that, like a lot of springs in areas where there's been coal mining, the water is extremely iron rich. In this case, it would kill something like 50% of fish. So we need to clean some of that iron out before we have it down to the fish ponds. I'm planning to do that in 2 ways. Firstly, by aerating the water using these little sort of flow forms we've built, and secondly, by putting reeds into the 3 ponds we've got, and the roots of the reeds bring oxygen down into the water. And we reckon we can take out about 90% of the iron just simply by doing that.
The problem is that much of the surface water has a habit of drying out in the summer, and commercial irrigation schemes would be costly to install and uneconomic to maintain. There's a much simpler way, working with nature by digging special ditches which exactly follow the contours, as Chris explains.
Well, what I'm standing in is a swale, and it's dry at this time of year, but over the winter this would be almost completely full of water. We have a swale here because we get a lot of surface water coming down the hill behind me, and it's causing a lot of waterlogging in the land below this. And what the swale does is just slow the water down, really. It stops it moving so quickly, and so the effect is that over winter it dries it out. And the water is slowly released in the early part of the growing season, in the spring, and so keeping the ground more moist, and that way we're getting a nice balance.